All right, I'm just gonna scoot over here and make sure you guys have a good view. Okay, so I'm just coming on at a different time. On Saturday, we had a really good conversation going on. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay on for very long just because I had a acupuncture appointment to go to, but I said that I wanted to continue the conversation. But this Saturday is jam-packed, so I won't be able to do a live broadcast on Saturday. So I figured today, Friday, that I would do a live broadcast, but I'm not sure how many people are going to be able to make it because I don't see anybody popping on right now, and I know it's an awkward time and I'm kind of going off like teacher time. So I just got home. It's about 4:15. And I tried to get on here at 4, but traffic was a little crazy trying to get home from school, and then I had a student's day after class today because I think she had a long wait before her parents came to pick her up. So I thought I would just like stay and chit chat with her until her parents came. So yeah, so I'm just here, and I think most everybody's at work right now, or all my peeps that are out in the UK, they're probably in bed right now because I think they said it would be like after midnight. So yeah, while I'm waiting for spiritual homies to show up, and I'm just kind of, if you're kind of wondering like if I came just from school and it's like I'm so casual right now, is because on Fridays we are a little bit casual. I have my orange shirt underneath, like on Mondays and Fridays we wear orange. So that's kind of like our school spirit, but it's a little chilly. I don't know, it's like in between muggy and chilly right now. It was raining this morning and I'm kind of looking out. It's a little bit cloudy out there, so I brought a sweater, and actually this is my really cool like OP sweater, and I just kind of have my hair up just because when it's all muggy I don't need my hair down. But anyway, I have a few decks with me that I have been working with as of late. I've really been into my stones decks. So I have the Crystal Wisdom Oracle that I love working with, as well as the Healing Oracle Crystal Reading Cards by Rachel Charman. And this is totally like my go-to, like go-to for everything deck. I always get such really good readings, deep readings, you know, whatever question I may be asking, if I'm working with clients or anything, like that is the deck for me. And my Sacred Creators Oracle, I am in the middle of doing Chris Ann's intuitive and Becca their intuitive lab right now, so I'm making sure that I bust out my Sacred Creators Oracle and as I work on their intuitive lab. And the other deck that I'm working with, and usually I'll pull like a card from here and then I'll use my crystal decks in spreads, but also of course, have been loving my Lavish Oracle deck like I showed you guys last time. Okay, so it looks like we have one person popped on right now, but like I said, it's a really awkward time. I know a lot of people are at work right now, or they're just getting off work, or they're on the freeways, or it's midnight in some people's places. So, but anyway, I figured if nobody popped on, that's still fine. I still want to put out a really good video for you guys because people can watch it on the playback. So, wanted to get into spirits, energies, and entities. Oh my! So, I feel like spirit energy has really increased. I don't know if it's been since the full moon. Maybe it was a little bit more. I mean, the solar eclipse. But I don't know. It just seems like maybe I'm a little bit more open and a little bit more sensitive, but it sounds like it's not just me when I'm on the on like my woo-woo channels and stuff like that. It seems like there's a lot of energy going on. So what I wanted to talk about today was just kind of my view of what is energy. And let me just adjust my camera because I think it's like a little funky. Okay. it's like, what do I think like ghosts and all of that are? So okay, let's get into the meat of this. So my point of view of when people pass away, I believe that there is a spirit inside all of us, you know, and that it is connected to something I see as source energy. This is something like kind of an idea that I've always had, that there's almost like in my brain I see it as this like big light ball of source, and that somehow there's all these like little light strings that's connected to each and every living thing on earth, animals, plants, flowers, and you know, people, everything. And so it would be like little like light webs everywhere is kind of how I see everything, you know, but it's invisible to our human eyes. And then it almost seemed like it was confirmed, and I'll have to go back and tell you guys a weird dream that I had. And this dream was probably about 6 years ago or so, I would say. And it's back when I was living in my apartment and I wasn't living in the house that I am now. But I usually would have my grandmother, my mother's mother, pop up in my dreams every now and then. And in my dream, I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, which actually was this bed in the apartment. And I'm sitting there, and in my dream, in the corner of the room, there's like this dark mist that's coming down, but I wasn't scared in my dream. I was like, oh, hey, Grandma. And all of a sudden it was like, bam, there was my grandma sitting next to me. And she was like, hey, sweetheart. And I don't remember then what happened like next in the dream, but then the other part, all of a sudden we're like in my old house, like the house that I grew up in. And the house is cleared out except for my parents' bed, and it's like there's a spotlight just on my parents' bed, and the rest of the house is dark. And so my grandmother's laying on the bed, like just chilling, you know, like two girls having a slumber party, whatever. And so we're there, and and my grandma asked me, she said, why are people so afraid of spirits? Like, she's asking me. And I was like, well, 'cause like we all know that like you died, like I saw you in your coffin, I saw you get buried. So for me to see you like outside of that, like just floating around or wandering around, is a little bit freaky to me. And my grandma was like, huh. And she says, I mean, but it's still us. Like, why would you fear us? Like, she says, you know me, why would you fear me? And I was like, well, because I don't know, it's kind of freaky. I saw your dead body, basically, Grandma. It would be a little scarring if I saw you when I was awake. And my grandmother was like, And I was like, but that's fine if I see you in my dreams, because I'm not scared in my dreams. And she was like, And then my grandma disappeared in my dream, and all I could do was hear her. Like, it was a really faint, almost like a whisper, but I could hear her talking. And she was like, how about this? Would be better if you're in your waking life, you could hear me this way. And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that either, because I'm so afraid of having some sort of mental illness. Like, I'm afraid that I would have like auditory schizophrenia or something if I started like hearing voices. And she was like, okay. So then she popped back into like, you know, herself so I could see her. And she was like, you guys are so afraid of everything. She goes, you're afraid to see me, you're afraid to hear me. She goes, how am I supposed to get messages to you? And I was like, I don't know, Grandma, come to me in my dreams. Like, find some different way that's like not scary. And she was like, what if I became this? And she turned into my mom. And I was like, you want to be my mom? And it wasn't until later that I realized she was like asking if messages could come to me from her through other people in my family. Like, she's like, what if I was like your mom? What if I was like this? What if I was like that? And I'm like, no. I think that's strange. Her and I got to talking about a few other things that it was almost like we were like having a slumber party. And it was kind of weird because my grandmother seemed like she was the same age as me in my dream, and it's not like I ever like knew my grandmother when she was my age. So yeah, she just seemed a lot younger. She was still wearing the clothes that I would like remember my grandmother wearing, but then I asked her, you know, because she said she looked at her watch or whatever, and she was like, "Oh," and she goes, "Your alarm's gonna be going off soon, sweetheart. So you know, you better get up for school." And I was like, you know, because I was still working out of school at the time, and I was like, I was like, I'm always supposed to try to ask you something. Oh, I'm like, I got it, Grandma. Okay. I've always been trying to ask you this, but I always freaking forget in my dreams. What is the meaning of life? And my grandmother like laughed early on. She's like, ha ha. Okay, well, I can't do my grandma's laugh, but she was like, she says, if I told you that, what would be the purpose of living? And I was like, touche. I was like, okay, true that, Grandma. But I said, how is it on the other side? I've always been so curious. Like, she says, well, you know what it's like on the other side. I was like, yeah, okay, but I'm a human person, and right now I don't know. I don't have any memory of that. Like, I don't know. Like, can you just tell me? I'm so curious, because there are so many people that are so scared, like myself included. I was like, I don't want to see ghosts. I don't want to hear ghosts and things like that. And of course, now I'm speaking 6 years later, and I hear and see them, like, and feel them all over the place, and I'm not scared at all. But at the time when I'm speaking to her in my dream, I still was. And so I said, which religion got it right? And she started laughing again. She was like, she says, I don't think there's a right or wrong, like a religion getting it right or a religion getting it wrong. And then I said, well, is it like, I said, because I grew up, you know, Catholic. I said, well, at least for the, you know, a small portion of my life. I said, so is it like in the Bible? Is there like some sort of God, and there's like, you know, all that stuff? And she was like, she goes, there's not like this omniscient, omnipotent being, you know. She goes, there isn't this dude like presiding over everybody saying like, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. She goes, like, there isn't. She goes, don't think of it that way. Think of it as a ball of energy. She goes, we're all source energy. And I was like, whoa. I said, so, and she says, let me explain. If you are having a dream of me right now, she goes, and I'm here talking to you in my dream, she goes, I could also be several other places, physically. She says, because I'm in this ball of energy, she goes, you can spread out energy however you wish. She goes, I'm not confined to, let's say, a body where I can only be one place at a time. She says, when you're energy, you can spread your energy anywhere. So she says, you can be multiple places at once. And I'm like, it's like totally like blowing my dream mind, right? Which is, it's kind of hard for me to explain now because it's still blowing my mind. But she says, we're kind of like everywhere. And she says, and because we all share the source energy, we all share the same knowledge. So the knowledge, let's say I'm giving to you or getting from you, she says, is going back into that source energy. She goes, and it's thus shared amongst everybody. So everything we see and hear on our travels is shared amongst everything else living that's connected to that source energy. And it's almost like, as I'm describing this, it's like, who the hell am I to describe this? I'm just describing like what the heck my grandmother told me in my dream. And it was probably one of the deepest, you know, powerful waking dream states that I've ever had. And so as she's telling me this, it kind of confirmed what I kind of sort of believed that it was like. And she says, so when you're asking me about religion, she goes, it's not a religious thing. It's just how it is. She says, so it's fine for people to have beliefs. She goes, I wouldn't stop people from having beliefs. I wouldn't say, oh, you should go believe this now. She goes, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that to people. She goes, let people believe, let them be humans. She goes, let them believe whatever they want to believe. Let them, you know, find their way, find their path. And she says, but, you know, in the end, we all go back to source and we take our learnings and our lessons with us. And she goes, and we share it amongst the collective, basically. And then she was joking, and I was like, so Grandma, like, am I ever gonna get married? And then I was like, cause you know everything, right? And she's like, I do. I was like, so you know the decisions that I'm gonna make and things that I'm gonna do. And she's like, I do. I know all the paths of the decisions that you could make. And then she says, think of it like mathematics. You have a variety of choices every day in front of you. She goes, I know the outcomes of every one of those choices. How you pick those choices is up to you, whatever choice or path you choose to take. And I'm just like, whoa. And I was like, so like, am I gonna have kids? Like, am I getting married? And she was like, well, I like Brian. Brian's my current boyfriend. She's like, I like him. She goes, he's really cool. I mean, we really like his cat, and our old cat, Presley, who's since passed away. And she says, you know, I like him. He's a good guy. And I was like, so am I gonna get married? Oh, what's up, Veronica Rose? Yeah, I wish my grandma talked to me like this, like when she was alive. I mean, she's freaking deep in my dreams. But yeah, she was like, she said, and I was like, so am I gonna have kids? Or like, what's gonna happen? She was like, I can't tell you about the muffins before the cake. And I was like, huh? That makes like no sense to me. And then I was thinking, oh, cake, like wedding cake, like, oh, haha. And then she was like, okay, but seriously, your alarm's gonna be going off soon, so you better get. And I was like, okay. And then she let me know that there was a student that wouldn't be at school today because yeah, I was definitely, it was in a dream state. I've got these deep dreams. So she was like, oh, there's going to be a student who's not in school today. That's because there was a little fire that happened in her house. So I was like, okay. So after I woke up and I did go to school, that indeed did happen. There was a student that wasn't at school because, I don't know, some electrical outlet, like something happened, and it wasn't her whole house that like burned down. It was just like a scorching in one of the rooms. But still she wasn't at school. So it was like, oh my gosh, like that dream was real. Like, and sometimes, I don't know if you guys know, but there are some dreams that I just know I'm not dreaming, where it's so real and all of a sudden it's like you were in a dream and then the dream stopped and you stepped out of that dream and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not dreaming anymore. Like, this is what we're doing now and this is what we're talking about. And I've had quite a few of them. I don't have them all the time, but when I do, I know it when I'm having it. So yeah, so that was a pretty cool dream. And then I dreamt of my grandmother one more time before she told me she would never communicate in that way with me again, which I was kind of bummed because I like talking to my grandmother in my dreams, and I had been since 1996, since she had passed away back when I was in high school. And so the last dream I had with her, gosh, I'm trying to remember the first part of it. I don't really remember the first part of the dream, but the last part of the dream, and I was still, yeah, that knowing, right? Like sometimes I can't even explain how I just know I'm not in a dream anymore. Like, I don't know. And there's not even like, it's not like I want to try to convince people like, oh, sometimes, you know, you can't convince people of that. But, so anyway, I'm in the middle of a street and my grandmother's standing there and it's bright white. It's like white everywhere. Like it's blinding light. And I can tell there's thousands upon thousands, maybe millions of people behind her. But I can't make out faces. I just know there's people back there. That's just what I know in my dream. And what I know now, okay, I was living in an apartment at the time, and now that dream is over, I realize now we were standing on Hamashaw Road, which is the road right below this house that I live in now. And we weren't even house shopping at the time, so I didn't even know that road yet because I hadn't even traveled, you know, out here. So anyway, back to the dream. So we're there, and my grandmother comes up to me and she says, she goes, hey Pumpkin, how's it going? I'm like, I'm good, everything's going good. And she's like, well, you know, I just want you to know I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of your brother. She goes, I'm always watching over you and your brother. She goes, I'm, you know, proud of all the things that you're, I know it's totally spooky cool, right? She says, you're, you know, all the things that you're doing in school and for those kids and, you know, everything. Basically, she was just telling me, you know, how proud she was. Oh, what up, Dead Cheeky? I hope you don't get bumped off too. So, she's telling me that, you know, that she's really proud of me and everything. And then she says, you know, and she goes, well, I just want you to know that this will be the last time I talk to you here. She goes, you won't see me like this again. And I was like, why? And she was like, well, I can't really say, but she says, just know I'm never far from you. I'm always watching over you. I can't come like this anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. And in my dream, I was like, okay, that's cool. You know, but I mean, I'm kind of bummed because I really haven't had a dream of her since then. And she says, I don't need to watch over you. I mean, she goes, I'm still going to watch over you, but you don't need my help anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. She says, like, it's apparent that you can do what you're doing on your own. She goes, you don't need me by your side step by step. She says, you're so strong, you're smart. She goes, everything you're doing, she goes, you're on the right path. She goes, you don't need grandma by your side anymore. She goes, your little brother, maybe a different story. She goes, I still want to help him, but you won't see me anymore. She goes, but I'm always here. She goes, you'll feel me near, but I'm just, you know. And then that was it. She kind of faded into that light. It became like so bright. It was like blinding, blinding, blinding. And then I was like, bam, I was back in my bed and I like woke up. So, so yeah, I think with the dreams that I've had of my grandmother mostly, is kind of what's giving me my perception of like the afterlife. Like, what is that? And, I don't think it's made me like religious or non-religious, you know, because I have, you know, beliefs from different religions, I would say, you know, things of different religions. Well, yeah, maybe she will visit in a different way. I'm always trying to feel my grandma, and I know that maybe she's there. I don't know. I just haven't found the way to feel her again, which is kind of sad, but I know it's not like she like totally disappeared off like the stratosphere. She's somewhere in that ball of swirling energy she talked about before. But like there are elements of Buddhism that I really, you know, connect with, and you know, I've really studied a lot of you know, in Buddhism, and actually I've done kind of a theological approach. I have studied many different types of religions, and I like to see the commonality in religions, and like us as a people, like where are we getting these ideas? And then I try to see like how can I make sense of those religions as compared to like what my grandmother said. It's not like she was feeding me a religion. She was just feeding me a like, hey, this is how it is. Oh, your uncle does that for you too. Shows up in different ways. Yeah, I have different, you know, my various family members that pop up here and there. But yeah, so yes, commonalities are definitely more interesting than differences or oppositions. So like there are, even though I was I guess technically baptized Catholic, I wasn't baptized till I was like 14. And that's because my mother, who is like a diehard Catholic, was like trying to get my father to get my brother and I baptized because she thought we were going to burn in eternal hellfire and damnation. And my dad comes from the background of like, you know, let the kids pick what they want to be when they grow up. You know, my dad was more laid back. I mean, I guess there was like an error of like Catholicism or Christianity of my father, you know, in his family growing up, but they weren't like church goers. It was more like you do your own thing, you believe what you want to believe. And my dad wanted that for my brother and I. But my mother, who was raised Irish Catholic, was like, these kids are going to church, these kids are getting baptized, and she goes, and I don't want their souls to like burn in hell. And my dad's like, my dad's like, I don't really believe in a hell. He goes, I don't believe in a heaven or hell. He's like, I just believe we go somewhere. And he's like, something happens. He goes, because I do believe in a soul. I just don't know what happens. And because I don't know what happens, I can't say I believe in something that happens. He goes, I just know that something happens. Oh, you got baptized at 26. Well, mine was like my mother making me get baptized when I was like 14. So yeah, we had to go to catechism and all of that. It was like getting all three of my sacraments. I think it was at once I got like baptized, I had my first communion, and I had confirmation like all at the same time. And I don't know, and it's not like I want to go around telling people, oh, you know, my grandmother said this, so your religion is wrong, and I had this like freaky ass dream, and therefore you're wrong. Like, you know, I don't think that's right to go around like telling people, oh, you're not allowed to believe that, or you shouldn't believe that. Like, let people believe whatever they want to believe. I kind of take my dad's approach on that. Like, hey man, it goes, if it works for you and you're a good person and you're good to other people, like he's all, I don't care what the F you want to believe. Like that's totally my dad, you know, and yeah. And so, and my mother, I don't know, my mother would rather impose her beliefs on other people. She would say, oh, those poor Buddhists are gonna burn, or like those poor, you know, Episcopalians, or those poor whatever. And I was like, how could somebody so kind and loving in this place called heaven want to like select out only a certain number of people that like believe in him? Like, what about those people that live in those faraway tribes somewhere that haven't had a chance to know who this guy is? Like, that's not fair. So I don't know, but I don't want to get into like a whole religious discussion because so anyway, yeah, so my just belief in the afterlife is kind of colored with a little bit of maybe the, I would say from Christianity, you know, like I believe in angels, but I don't think angels are like a Christian thing. I think that angels are a type of being and that they show up in different religions under different names, that they're an actual thing, like an energy thing. And so in Christianity, as I have known it, their names are angels. So that's kind of what I call them. And I think that they are connected to that source energy that, you know, in my dream that my grandmother was talking about. Yeah, see, Veronica Rose, I think it's great to, you know, allow people to kind of figure it out for themselves, what they want to, you know, believe in, what they want their religion to be, or their dogma. I totally lost my place where I was going. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'll try to be all serious. But yeah, so you know, I have little bits of like, you know, angels and no problem. It's nothing with you. Like, it's the end of the day. Like, I just got off of school and my brains are scrambled. Like, I was having trouble sixth period with my sixth period kids. Like, I would be talking to one and I'm like, oh yeah, so just get out your paper. And they're like, okay, miss, I got out my paper. I'm like, why did I have you get out your paper? I was like, my brains are scrambled. So anyway, what I was saying, you know, so I believe in, you know, the concept of angels, and I believe in, Sapphire, oh, hey, what's up, Tarot Alchemist? Or Lisa. I do believe in, like, I like angel cards. I believe in spirit animals. I believe in, I believe in ascended masters, or people who were deeply connected to the energy and the energy of people, the energy of animals, and the energy of others. So like, for me, even though, let's say, I don't consider myself like Catholic, I don't consider myself Christian, and I don't really identify with one religion. You know, I believe that there was, let's say, yeah, you don't want to like pressure people. Like, I believe in that there was a dude named Jesus, and I believe that he was like, whatever, that he was really connected. He was tapping into some sort of energy, and that he basically just was like, y'all just be nice to each other. You know. And so I believe in that Jesus energy. You know, I believe in like Mother Teresa and Siddhartha Buddha, and you know, I believe in you know, all these masters who've come along, who've really deeply tapped into the human consciousness and human energy and source energy and animals and, you know, earth energy, I guess you could say. And so I don't look at them as like a religion, like, oh, I believe in Jesus, therefore I need to follow this book, and, you know, things like that, because I'm not really about that. I mean, I'm an English teacher. I like books. I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of religious books, and I'm more, therefore, study of the human experience for me. And so, okay, so I got, you know, like, you know, believe in, let's say, Jesus here, and, you know, and I got my Buddha over here, and, you know, and I got, you know, all these things over here. I have, oh, well, I hope your intermittent issues don't, I think some people were like kind of bouncing on and off. So I'm praying for good connections and things like that. So yeah, I've kind of taken all of that, the bits and pieces of religion, and that, you know, just basically, I guess if you could say if I had a religion, it would just be, you know, I try to be a good person to other people, to the earth, to, you know, animals. You know, I do consider myself, you know, kind of a green witch. You know, I'm really, really connected to nature and to plants. And I do believe that you know, we can heal the earth as well as the earth can, you know, heal us, you know. And so, yeah. Oh no, we got a tech tomorrow. I hope it stays up. So then I kind of how this all fits into what happens when we die, and just my opinion. Oh yeah. See, maybe it's like the old school internet where like you couldn't be on the phone when you like had the internet going on. It was like, Mom, get off the phone! I'm trying to get on the internet. But I believe we have this energy inside of us, this soul. You know, and then it moves our body. You know, it's all kind of controlled up here and in here, and we're kind of like these. I don't know. I almost feel like a Muppet, you know. Like Kermit the Frog, you know. And then when this physical body dies, I feel that this energy then is like free, and it's like sweet, you know, it can go back to source. I believe that there's all these different dimensions too. I believe that, you know, the so-called angels, you know, well, I go like this because they go by other names. You know, I'm not saying they're not, you know, because I believe in them. Well, I hope everybody's tech issues clear up. And I believe we can go to all these different dimensions. The angels might be on, you know, one dimension. Maybe these ascended masters or whatever on another dimension. My grandmother and all these other people, maybe they're on another dimension. I mean, who knows? And I almost think it's like maybe I watch too much Star Trek or something. Oh yeah, yeah. There's dead cheeky. There's tons of interesting conversations at my house too. But, you know, and then I think kind of like my grandmother told me in my dream, and I totally believe that that was her. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. And I guess I'll catch you later then. You're right, Veronica Rose. There is no such thing as too much Star Trek. But I believe that there's like almost like these wormholes, like if you were to think the Star Trek way, which are like portals, that they're all over the place, and you can like go from one dimension to another through these wormholes or portals, and it's like how energy gets around, and that this is all like kind of right where we are right now. Like we are one, you know, one sort of dimension, and maybe our dimension that we're in, we can't really see the other dimensions, but some of us that are sensitive enough, we can sense other dimensions or beings that are coming over from other dimensions. And so that's why now as I beam me up, Scotty, yes. That's why when I don't know, as I've gotten older and I've studied more and I've had all these like crazy experiences and crazy dreams, that I'm not scared anymore. I mean, I've seen some scary shit, I'm just gonna say. And I'm not afraid anymore. I was so afraid as a child when I would hear spirits, when I would feel energies, and I would just know something's there or something is on watching me. The house that I grew up in was freaking scary. And I would pray every night. You know, I was just like, I never want to hear anything. I never want to see anything. I never want to feel anything. And I've told you guys before in our earlier broadcast last Saturday that my brother did see things, and I would always pray like, please don't let me see what my brother sees. And so I would try to shut it down, but there was no completely shutting it down. And then when I started having these really powerful dreams with my grandmother, it seemed like, okay, well, it's okay to have them in my dreams. Yeah. And it's okay if I talk to my grandmother or I talk to, you know, my, oh yeah, I was in a freaking really haunted house. Like, my brother and I were like scared crapless, you know, from that house. And I was so glad the day that I could go to college and live in a dorm where every noise and every sound I heard came from a human being. So, but I'm not like that anymore. Now I'm like, psh, show me what you got. I ain't scared. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Shoot, I could be a Ghostbuster. But yeah, and then, you know, after having all these powerful dreams and stuff, and it seems like my clairs and everything is just opening up even more the older I get. But now I'm not afraid, so I think that's what's really opening things. And so now I'm like, that's cool. And so now I see all kinds of crazy things. And sometimes I think, or I mean, every now and then my ego steps in, and oh, that's Wally. Wally stepped in. And sometimes I'm just, you know, I'll ask Brian, like, am I going crazy? Like, sometimes I think I'm like crazy. Like, you know, I see things, but when I tell people about the things I'm seeing, they're like, oh, you're seeing my grandfather, you're seeing this. So it's like, I'm always amazed, even when I do readings for clients, and you know, the intuition and the hits that I get, which I know is not like I don't believe like you know, I'm special because I'm like, oh, like you're psychic or something like that. Like, I don't feel like I'm this super special person. I just think, well, we all have this energy in us and it's all connected to something. So maybe my human body is just allowing that energy to make my human body aware of that kind of stuff. So then it's like, well, that doesn't make me special. You know, I'm not like, you know, anything like that. It's just, you know, I can tap into it, and I think everybody can do that, you know, to some degree. And it's like a muscle, you know. I'm all about working out and stuff, and so I practice really hard to really open that stuff up now. And in my meditations, when I'm, you know, talking to my spirit guides and my animal guide, which is a wolf, I'm like, I'm not afraid. You throw me, you know, whatever you got. Oh, wow. Actually, speaking of losing your marbles, when I was at school today, and it's so weird because lately I've usually been able to separate, like when I have my intuition turned on and when I'm like, okay, I can't have that stuff right now. You know, I'm at work, I'm working with students, you know, I can't be doing that. It seems like I'm having a harder time shutting it down because it's getting so powerful and to be so much, that and it's not like I'm losing control of it. I don't feel like I've lost control. You know, I feel like, you know, I can really tap in if I want to. It's just that I can't shut it down completely. It's like a drippy faucet, I guess. And here comes Wally Walito. Hello. He's purring. So I'm at school, and there are a couple of times I've gotten like really dizzy at school, but usually I just kind of lean on my desk and I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting discussion. Why doesn't little Bradley continue that discussion for us, you know? Yes, Wally Walito, he's a cutie pie. Today at school, I literally saw this white mist come out of the ceiling, fly over my students, and go back up into the ceiling. And I was in the middle of lecturing, and I was like, and the kids are like, Miss Egypto? I was like, oh, yeah, there was a mosquito in here. I just thought I didn't want you guys to get bit or anything. You know, I'm not going to tell the kids, oh, hey, I think I saw like some weird spirit energy going through here. So, you know, usually I can just kind of play it off at school. But in my brain, I'm like, I'm just like, you know, like, hey man, like I'm at work right now. You gotta like knock that stuff off. Like I can't work with you right now. That's not the job that I'm doing right now. But I have noticed that it's helping me tap into each of my students more, which is interesting. Like I can really tap into their energies and like what's going through their head, and like and knowing, okay, I need to help this kid over here. I need to do this over here. So it's like I'm being much more efficient with my students, which is kind of an interesting like side effect there. So yeah, just lots of that stuff going on, and yeah, I dig it, but you know, obviously the more I let in, the more I let in that I don't understand, and there's a lot that I can't even explain to you guys because I don't even know what it is. And I've tried to tell my boyfriend, and my boyfriend's like, he's pretty straight laced, like he's Mr. Down to Earth, and I mean, there's things that he can't explain, but he's like, you know, but he believes in the things that I see and do, because there's a lot. He's like, so yeah, there's a definite, you know, deep connection to the spirit world with me. So I don't know if you guys, okay, I'm gonna try to explain the like weird things I see, and I try to understand them. There's been a couple of times where, I don't know if you guys get this, where you're in a place where you're feeling very unwelcome, not by people, but like you're in a place and let's say there's nobody around, and all of a sudden you get this overwhelming feeling of I'm not safe and I'm not welcome at all. And I haven't felt anything like that until like maybe a few months ago, where I was going through, I think I was going through a cemetery, and I was like giving my, like, you know, I was sending like good vibes, good energy to, you know, the spirits of the cemetery. And all of a sudden I felt this overwhelming sense of run, you know, my fight or flight was like cranked to 11, and it was like run, like every like beep beep beep, like shields up, like Enterprise, like everything. You know, the Geordie LaForge to the bridge, like holy cow, like everything's just like flashing. And I'm like, nope, I'm gonna stand my ground. And it was so uncomfortable that I was shaking, and I was like, no, I need to stand my ground, because I have every right to be here, and you know, nothing is going to scare me from this spot. So I'm like saying like, oh no, looks like I'm having bad connection. Sorry guys. Oh, it's a very bad connection. So anyway, I'm like standing my ground, and I refused to move, and it just got more intense to the point of where my stomach started hurting, and I felt like throwing up. And but then it dissipated, I think after like 5 minutes or so, and it went away, and I was just like, what the heck was that? So yeah, has anything like that happened to you guys? I tried to tell my boyfriend about it. I was like, I felt this like thing, like something really didn't want me there, and I felt ill to my stomach. It felt like I was being pushed. And he was like, well, if you didn't like it, why didn't you just go away? And I was like, because I don't know, maybe it's like the macho athlete in me, but I don't want to show fear. The minute I feel like things know I'm scared, that they're gonna feed off my fear, lower energies, let's say. I said I don't want things thinking I'm scared. Yeah, so I have to be like ultra tough, and because of that, I'm not as scared anymore. But there's still some situations where I'm just like, whew, like deep breath. There was one time I was playing with my cards. I was sitting where I am now. And it was at night. I don't know, it was like 11 o'clock at night or something, and my boyfriend was passed out on the bed. And you guys know that my closet with the portal that's playing the ohms right now was, you know, is over there. And I'm just like, la la la. And I think I was playing with like the Housewives tarot. Oh, bye Sapphire. And so I'm just like, la 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 la. And all of a sudden I got this feeling like I'm being watched right now. So I'm like kind of looking around. And then out of the closet, it was like, is this in my mind? Am I making this up? I'm trying to scare the crap out of myself. Like, what is it that I'm seeing? Okay, do you guys remember? Well, we're all old enough to remember Ghostbusters. Do you remember Ghostbusters 1, where it was like Zool's like demon dogs or whatever? The feed. Oh, you're feeding your dogs. Oh, I thought you were leaving, Sapphire. Sorry. Well, hello. Yeah, you know, every fiber of my being said that it wanted to leave too. But yeah, you remember those things from the Ghostbusters that like had the horns and had the red eyes, and they were like the demon dogs or whatever of Zool. That's kind of what I thought I saw coming through the closet, although it didn't have the horns. It was more like a, I don't know, like a demon Rottweiler, I guess, with red eyes. And it was black, and it came through, and the room got really cold. And it was like, it almost felt like my boyfriend was a million miles away. And you know, even though he was right behind me snoring, he's always asleep for this stuff. Like, he's never awake for anything cool. Anyway, and I'm just like, whew, like, I'm like, I'm not scared. I'm not going to run away. I was like, you can't make me leave. This is my house. This is my territory. I was like, you're not going to make me scared of like being in the dark. You're not going to make me scared of sitting on the floor playing with my tarot cards. Like, I'm not scared. Like, I should be allowed to do what I want to do. I need the freedom to do what I want to do, and no spirit or demon dog or whatever the heck that is going to make me run away. So I'm sitting there, so I'm furiously then like shuffling my tarot cards, and the card that flies out, the devil card. And I was like, okay, whatever is here is trying to scare me. And I was like, there is no devil. There's no such thing as the devil. I was like, I wish I was Wonder Woman. And I was like, so I said, if you're trying to pull the devil card, that's not what it means in tarot. And I said, no. I was like, you don't scare me. I was like, so you just better like back on up. And so after a few minutes of me like frigidly standing, like sitting there, just like, it's like the room got warm again, and it disappeared, and like it was like really light in the room again. I was just like, whoo, you know. Yeah. And then as of late, you know, that my buddy Lewis, who is our friend from college, he's staying with us. He's been with us for a couple of months now, and he's been doing like work on our house, which, by the way, when I make another like profesh video, you'll be able to see all the beautiful can lights he's put into this room. So we have actual lights. See, we don't have to use the nightstand lights anymore, so it'll be a lot brighter in here come nighttime, which is kind of cool. So anyway, there's been something that's been messing with him lately, because my boyfriend, he doesn't really see anything, and he doesn't like give two craps. Oh, you have to go? All right, I understand, Veronica. I mean, you guys are on a really far time zone. It's probably really, really, really late right now, so you have yourself a good night's sleep. Bye, Veronica. And so yeah, my boyfriend's just like, whatever, so things don't really bother him because he's not all like into that. And me, I mean, things try to scare me, but they know they're not going to get anywhere with me, because I'm just like, you better back on up. Oh yeah, you know, and I do believe that negative energy or lower vibrational energy, or whatever that is that you want to call it, does try to attack our energy or invade our space or whatever, and feed off of whatever the heck is feeding off of, like freaking ghosty parasites. And so anyway, he's been doing a lot of work in our attic, which is right above me because I'm on the second floor, and he's been like working with the wiring and stuff like that. And so I don't know if I said this story last Saturday, but my boyfriend had a light shining on the control box that had all the wires in it, you know, up top, while my buddy was like kind of crawling around up there. And it was after midnight, and his girlfriend was like sleeping downstairs on her couch. And my boyfriend's like, Dara, like, get up here. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what's up? And he says, like, did you notice anything strange going on? And I was like, well, yeah, I kind of saw like a mist go up into the ceiling, and then I saw something dark run past me. And he was like, okay, because I had my light shined on that thing like the whole time. And then I blinked my eyes and I looked back, and now the cover of it is open and all the wires are out, and our buddy was in the corner the whole time. And then our buddy's like, oh my god, something's up here with me, I can feel it up here with me. He's like, I need to get down now. And then my boyfriend, being Mr. like practical, is like, you stay up there, you do not leave your mission, like do not abandon your post. he's like, I don't care if there's poltergeists up there. He's like, you need to finish, it's late, I'm tired. He's like, you finish. My friend's like freaking out. And so then my boyfriend's like, can you do whatever it is that you do that like gets rid of this crap? And I was like, sure, honey, I'll go get rid of the crap. So I went and got my sweetgrass, my sage, and my Palo Santo. Totally smoked up the whole house. I mean, not like, you know, like smoke, but, you know, I saged up and Palo Santo'd and sweetgrass the whole house. And then I did a little bit of like mentally talking, because I don't know, sometimes I get a little self-conscious, like speaking out loud to spirit with like my boyfriend and my buddy there. So I was like mentally like, this is my house, you leave my friend alone right now. He goes, and then to which point I thought I saw a little boy in our kitchen. But I just knew in my heart of hearts that that wasn't a real like little boy spirit. And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, you are not a little boy and you need to get out of my house. And it looked at me and its eyes like turned red and, you know, obviously trying to scare me, like trying to be like a demon. And I was like, you are not a demon. I was like, you are just a childish little thing. And I was like, you need to get out of my home. And it's like, no. And then all of a sudden it was like a big like dark energy, like more like an adult. And it was kind of following me around. It was showing me all these scary faces. And in my brain, I was like, you can't scare me. I was like, you know who does better scary faces? Hollywood. Maybe you need to go get a cue from Hollywood, because you are not scary and you need to get out of my house. Our friend is our guest and that is our buddy, and you leave him alone like right now. And, you know, and I was like, I will call in the big guns and they will take you out of this house right now. And so it left me and went back to go like mess with my friend. And then finally it's like it got lighter and the house got warm again and it left. But it's been back a couple of times, and usually when he's up in the attic, and it's usually after 11 o'clock. So I don't know the significance of that, because I believe like spirits can roam around at any time, but I don't know why it seems like later at night is when it, or whatever it is, wants to mess with my buddy. But things don't really mess with me like that, because I mean they try to, but I try not to show fear. I mean, I could be shaking in my boots, don't get me wrong, I'm a human being. I get scared, but I just try to be like stiff upper lip. I'm like, can't mess with me, bro, can't mess with me, girlfriend, or whatever the heck you are. So yeah, I don't know, like I think you guys have said that you kind of had those experiences too. I hope I'm not like the only one. And you know, I mean, if my boyfriend is Mr. Practical, you know, kind of believes in the things that, you know, I see and do too, it makes me feel like a little less crazy. But I'm always like second guessing myself, or like, is that stuff like really real? But yeah, so I don't know, what do you guys think? I'm feeling like all pumped full of energy right now. I feel like there's a lot of spirit around me right now. Not negative spirit, but just like, I don't know, like my relatives, I feel like they're hanging out with me right now. Oh, I don't know why this just popped in my head. Okay, sorry, there was a little brief disruption. So I don't know why this just popped in my head right now, but there was something else I wanted to tell you guys. Like I said, my brains are all scrambled after I get off work. My great uncle Red, which is my grandmother's brother, has been like, I don't know, he's been on my mind the past couple of days. My uncle Red was like really cool. I mean, he smoked like a chimney, but so he always smelled like cigs to me. But he was like, you know, just kind of like your man's man, works on cars and things like that. That is interesting. And the reason, you know, I kind of think of my Uncle Red, other than he was like a really cool guy, and is that well, after my grandmother died back in 1996, she was really young. She's actually, when she passed away, was the same age that my mother is now. So it's like 57, you know, or she was 57, 58 when she passed away. So really young, and she died of an aneurysm. A few weeks after, or actually a few months after my grandmother died, my nana died, which is my dad's mother. And so it was like, I don't know, kind of a, like a, you know, a hit to the heart to little, whatever, 15-year-old me. And then a couple of months after my nana died, my great uncle Red had taken his life. And the note that he left behind was because he was extremely depressed that my grandmother had passed away, his sister. And plus he was dealing with a lot of other issues and things like that. And so I ended up like reading about it in the paper. Like they actually had done an article about it, and it was pretty traumatizing and pretty scarring to little 15-year-old me. You know, because I only knew one other person in my family that had committed suicide, and that is I think we definitely need to search the attic and see like what is that connection with that thing up there in the attic. But the only other person I know who's committed suicide in the family is my dad's sister. And I never got to meet her because she passed away when she was 17. And that was back in 1976 or 77, I think. Maybe it was a little bit later, but I know it was in the mid to late 70s. And so it took me a while to kind of figure out like what is that like you know, suicide. And when I was having one of my intense dreams with my grandmother, and I'm trying to choose my words carefully, just because I know that that's it's a touchy topic for me, and it's probably a touchy topic for a lot of people too. So I just want to make sure that I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. I mean, not that I'm like trying to disrespect anybody. But my grandmother, excuse me, when she came to me in my dream, I was kind of talking about, because I was in a low point in my own life, and I was saying, you know, like why would Aunt Rebecca like commit suicide? And my mother says that you go to hell, but I don't believe in that. Like what? Like, because that doesn't seem fair. I mean, she was only 17, you know. And then my Uncle Red, like, why would he do that? Your brother, like, why? What's in the grand scheme of us being on Earth and learning things, like what is that? And she says, well, I wouldn't look down on, you know, people for that. She says, think of it this way. She says, you have a certain amount of things that you want to learn while you're on Earth, right? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay. And she says, you're allowed to make whatever choices you want. You know, nobody's forcing you to make choices. She goes, like I've told you before, like I kind of know the outcomes of whatever choices you do make, but you have an array of choices, you know, and each one will lead you down a different path. Yes? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay, so if you choose, she says, like, and I think I mentioned this in another video, that there are, you have like exit points. Like she says, you have, and your exit time that you want to exit could be a 20-year span. It could be a 2-month span, you know, and you can exit at any time in that span. And she says, and so when people commit suicide or take their life, or they get into a tragic accident, or they have an illness or something, it's all within their time frame of leaving. So, some people may say they left too soon. And she says, and perhaps that's true. She goes, I mean, every soul has their own mission. She goes, and maybe they, you know, it was meant to happen that way. And she says, and they learned not everything they needed to learn. Maybe they did. She goes, I don't know. We can't say for sure. She says, but they're going to take that into their learning, and the collective being source energy will, you know, take that in and learn from it. She goes, and perhaps they'll come back again, you know, because I do believe in reincarnation, so it would make sense that my grandmother's talking this way to me. She says that you can go back in with that knowledge and maybe go back and continue your learnings, maybe where you left off or something. But the way she was talking to me, it wasn't like it was a bad thing. Like, well, I mean, I don't want to say suicide is, you know, to me, it affects so many people, and it's such a serious and, you know, difficult topic. But she was saying it's not like we should punish those people or look down on them for the choice that we make, because again, it's just a choice. And she says, and you know, and people will second guess themselves. Maybe I could have done this. I should have seen this sign and whatever. And she was like, but just know, she goes, that they're just safely back with us. She goes, you know, where you're going to be eventually someday. And she says, and if you want to look at it this way, something else that's going to blow your mind is, she says, your past lives, she goes, remember, because we don't really have time over here. She goes, your quote unquote past lives, she goes, are still happening, and so are your future lives. She says, you're both simultaneously being born and dying in the current life that you have right now. She goes, your death has already occurred. Your future lives have already occurred. She goes, it's all happening at the same time. And I'm just like, I can't wrap my human brain around that. Even as I'm saying it to you, I can't really understand what she's saying. You know, so she says, so if you think of somebody ending their life in one life, it's not like they're gone, because their other lives are, everything's still happening. All their other lives are still going and things like that. So I don't know why I felt like I had to say that, but it felt like my Uncle Red was popping in like, hey, like you gotta I'm like, why am I gonna talk about your suicide? Like, that's kind of a difficult topic for me. So yeah, I don't know why I had to say that to you guys, and I hope that came across as clear and respectful as I can about the topic. But yeah, that it was like all our lives are still like happening. And whew, I don't know, that's some deep stuff for me to do on, what is it, 5:30 on a Friday. So I don't know, like what are your thoughts? Oh, I'm glad you guys like it. But what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I kind of get sorta what my grandmother's like was telling me in my dream, but I don't know, because I think very linearly. Like, there's the past, there is future, there is present. How could I possibly be in a loop of living and dying in this life right now? You know, how is all of that still going on? How is all of my past lives still going on? How are there future lives in me? And then I was like, so then I don't understand, like, dying and then taking that to the collective and learning. And she was like, well, if you understood it, that there was no time, you would understand that. And I was like, and she goes, but it's not really your place to understand everything. She goes, what's happening over here, because that's an over here experience and you're having an over there experience. Oh, no problem. Yeah, recycle. Yeah, it's like recycled energy. Yeah, definitely. It's just, whew, I don't know, like my head's spinning right now. I don't mean to get like weird on you guys, but I'm just like, I've been hit by so much heavy energy. What I was trying to tell you guys that I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but my cheeks are getting really red. I'm burning up. I mean, I know I'm wearing a sweater, but it's really not that hot in here. But it's yeah, I feel like I'm burning up with energy, and then my head is like, I'm like, woo. So yeah, whatever was coming through to have me give that to you guys, like, there you go. Yeah, so I guess I am a little flushed. It's just my rosy cheeks. So yeah, and then hey, on top of that, so Saturday, I kind of hang out with the San Diego Paranormal Eye. Once a month they go on an investigation, and that's kind of where, I mean, I don't let them know, but I practice even more of like opening up to energy, and then trying to tap into it, and then using their equipment to say, hey, do you guys look over there? Is there any like energy that you're getting from over in that direction? And if they do, then for my own confirmation, that's like my I'm not crazy confirmation that okay, I am tapping into these energies and I am kind of seeing what's going on. Or if we're in an area that has history where they would know the history, but maybe I don't know the history, I try tapping into the history by touching certain objects and trying to communicate with the spirits that are there to try to get a little picture. And then I'd ask them, hey, so in this area, was there something like this that happened or whatever, you know, and then if they confirm it, then I'm like, yes, I am tapping into something. But for me, it's not like, I usually always have my guides with me, Dejiki. And if anything where I'm feeling like they're in my personal space, you know, I always make sure that they're not too close to me. I always want to make sure that their energy is off of my energy, that they're, you know, so I always have my guides with me. And usually, you know, I will ask them like, can you see so-and-so and so-and-so, like my guides, and they're like, usually yes. So it's like, okay, so like, you don't mess with me, I got my hitmen. These are my homies. So yeah, and for me, it's not like a game or something where it's like, ooh, I want to like try to communicate with spirits and then like learn nothing from it. Like I want to learn about this stuff because I feel like just as much as I want to help people here, like I want to help students, I'm trying to learn to use my ability to tap into my dream state and to different energies to try to heal people here. Like that's like my thing. I like really want to help people. I want to heal people, whether I'm doing it through tarot, whether I'm connecting them to a loved one and like, you know, giving them, you know, comforting messages or whatever it is. I want to help people. And so then I'm like, well, why can't I help other energies, like even if they're not human, like on the other side? Or I say the other side, there's like all these levels that I believe in. So I'm like, how can I, you know, I want to help them too. So I want to learn as much as possible because I want to know kind of what I'm dealing with and the energies that I'm dealing with so that I can help them in, you know, different ways. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I don't think I've actually ever verbalized that to anybody. I'm here verbalizing it to the internet. That yeah, I not only do I want to help people here, and you know, I genuinely want to bring people healing and comfort, is, you know, I also want to do it with, why not do that with spirit? Why not do that with all those interesting energies that float around? And even those I have had, you know, one of those freaky, creepy, scary energies in my house. Come to find out, it was just angry that it was stuck here, you know. And so then I was like, well, why didn't you just ask for my help? Like, why try to scare the bejesus out of me? Like, you could have just asked me to help you. So I mean, I think I helped it. Oh, what's up, Allison? You know, and I think, you know, I don't know. I'm just trying my best over here. I'm trying to help people out. I'm trying to help spirits out. I'm trying to, you know, that's kind of why I like go on these like ghosty investigations, and why I'm always trying to open myself more to spirit, and why I'm always trying to figure out like, well, what does that mean? What's this energy mean? You know, and not running when I feel something so intense that, you know, literally every fiber in me wants to run. So yeah, that's kind of why I do the things that I do. So anywho, I don't know, you guys got any other comments? I think it's getting pretty close to dinner time over here. I think we're going to be going to, well, there's two places that we go on Friday, because usually we eat, oh, I have the ohms. They play in the closet 24/7. It's from the Om Sanctuary. It's like Om. So yeah, we always usually go eat at the Greek Chicken or DZ Aikens. So, because we eat like really clean throughout the whole week, and then get to have a little bit of DZ Aikens, or I love when we go to, as one of my teacher friends calls it, the the chicken hole, which is Greek chicken. I usually have the fried zucchini and the gyro sandwich. So yeah, and if I'm at DZ Aikens, we get like the monster like chef salad, but this ain't your mama's salad. This is like a forest with meat and cheese on it. It's really awesome. And then you have a little bit of onion bread to go with it. It's great. So yeah, you guys wanna anything else? before we sign off, I have my cards with me, so you know I'm going to be pulling you guys a card before I sign off. But anything else? Oh, dude, it's totally yummy. It's good stuff. DZ Aikens, they're a Jewish bakery and deli. And oh my God. Every time you're done with your dinner, they're like, do you want anything from the bakery? Everything is like, yes, you want something from the bakery, but their portions are so huge. Like I literally have no room for their dessert. Like if you're gonna have dessert at DZ Aikens, you go there for the dessert. If you're gonna have dinner, you just go there for dinner, because there's no room for more than one meal. But yeah, if you guys are ever in San Diego, I highly recommend DZ Aikens. I just made you want salad. It's a good salad. And I'm not a salad person. I'm not a bunny rabbit, but that salad I'll eat. Let's see. Yeah. So anyway, so anything else? And then I think I want to pull you guys a card. I think there's like 3 people in here. No sweat. I could pull 3 of you guys a card, or we could do like a group card or whatever. But so yeah, what are you guys thinking? Do you want, because I showed you guys earlier. Oh, we can pull it from my crystal reading cards. So I could pull, because there's only like 3 of you, so it should be fine. I could pull a reading card, or we could do like a general reading card for everybody, like a send-off message. Hey, Wally. Okay, sweet. Allison, you are first then. And then Dead Cheeky, you are second. Okay. Wow, I got their energies swirling around me right now. I'm like, hey, don't leave yet. I gotta give a reading. I dig it. Okay, so Allison, do you want a general reading, or do you want me to, oh, of course, Sapphire. I would not forget you. Allison, do you want a general reading or like something specific? Oh, Wally's bonking me. So, Allison, you also get a Purry Puma. He's okay. Ooh. Okay, Allison, that was your card. It just flew out, by the way. Oh, Kunzai. So this one says self-love. And I love the purple, by the way, which I don't know why it is. Whenever I think of you, I'm always thinking of you in like the color purple. Sometimes I think of people in colors. I don't see auras or anything, but it's just odd that I think of people in color, or a color. So for Kunzai, hold on, I'm just like tapping into your energy and just like confirming that what came is what's what. So it almost seems like the words burning yourself at both ends kind of came to mind, and I don't know if that makes any sense, but it says you might be a little hard on yourself with something that you're doing right now, and so it's saying, you know, just kind of take a step back and imagine that, you know, if you take a step out of yourself, would you be pushing this person as hard as you push yourself? Like, would you be as unforgiving and as harsh, you know? So if this were another person, think of how you would treat them. That's kind of how you should treat yourself. You know, usually we're a lot more gentle and a lot kinder to others than we might be on ourselves, because we're like, oh, it's ourselves. Like, of course I'm going to be like, you know, I want to be a perfectionist. I want to, you know, like push myself to my limits. And I want so much out of myself, but it's you know, it's kind of punishment. So what I'm getting with this card is just maybe slow down, take a little step back. You've been 3 back-to-back events, oh my god, in the next week. So yeah, it's like just whew, you know, take a breather. And you said that you've been ill, so that might be your body's way of like, take a break, sister. You know, obviously we have our commitments and things that we have to do. Like I'm super busy right now. Actually, I don't know why I decided to take on a student teacher, but this year I decided, hey, why not throw a student teacher in the mix? So yeah, I have a student teacher this year, or this semester, as well as having all of my seniors this year, as well as my opera that's next Sunday. And you know, I have rehearsals all next week in the evening from 7 to 10, so I might be a little lagging on my videos next week just because I'm going to be really focused on the opera. You know, and then I have all like my side jobs and like everything else I do that sometimes it's like I want to do this, and like I burn myself out too. So yeah. You know, we have our commitments, but sometimes it's just like, okay, right now I'm just gonna take 10 minutes to like chill out. You know, I'm not looking at my cell phone, I'm not doing this or that. I'm just gonna have a little me time, a little chill time. So I think that's what Kunzite is telling you. All right, so you really take advantage of that break time, girlfriend. You know, it's so weird, like whenever, you know, and I've been doing, you know, my tarot cards and readings for a while. You know, I started off with like friends and family, but it's so amazing to me that it's like when things are coming in, I always have a hard time trusting myself. So it's like, you know, myself wants to like blurt something out, like this is the message, this is the message. And I'm like, what if it's not the message? Like, what if I'm wrong? I'm so afraid of being wrong. And so that's why I'm always like, oh my gosh, it like feels so good when you guys are like, yeah, you're spot on. I'm like, freaking yeah, like hell yeah. Yes. I don't know if you guys get that way, but okay. So Allison, take chill pill and I don't know, spa day or just a day of rest or whatever you're gonna do. But yeah, sending you much healing love over there. Dead Cheeky, I think you were next. Did you want a general or did you want something more specific? I know, Dead Cheeky's, I think, oh, general, there you are. I thought your internet was booting you off again. Okay, so general. Okay, I think I'm supposed to read 2. I was gonna be like, no, and then it's like, okay, yes. Okay, we're doing 2. Okay. It says, cycles and music, moonstone and spirit quartz. Dead Cheeky, was it you that was saying that you could hear the music, my music of my ohms in the background? I think it was you. That's why I laughed. I was like, okay, so what I'm getting for you, I'm gonna get to this card, but this card's coming through really strong. Spirit quartz and music. You know, and I'm pretty sure other people can hear my ohms in this video too, but it just seems like when you were tapping into hearing my ohms, and like I said, other people can probably hear the ohms too, but maybe it was more prominent for you. That was for a reason. As I was talking about spirit and earlier I was saying that that's like my portal, and you know, I keep the ohms playing and things like that, that spirit was kind of coming through for you, letting you know that maybe an area that you want to work on, or an area that they're trying to communicate with you, is actually through sound. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it's not like you're hearing voices or something, but sometimes when a song comes on the radio and you think it's oddly specific to something that you were just thinking about, or when you hear a certain song and it automatically reminds you of somebody that's passed away, I think that this is what spirit is saying. It's like, we're trying to communicate with you, and it's through music, through sound, you know, the things that you can hear around you. Maybe not always a voice, but I don't know that. Okay, so so that's, yeah, that came through really strong. Okay, so now let's go to moonstone and cycles. And so there's a lot coming through, and so I'm just like, woo. That it seems like you're, you know, we all go through phases and cycles, but like I've been telling you guys this whole freaking entire video, which I don't know has been like an hour long or more, is that, you know, I feel like my clairs are opening up, and that I'm like going into this new cycle, that you too are going through a new cycle where you're gonna have to, I mean, it may not be spiritually, but a new phase where you're in the middle of like trying to figure out, okay, so now this is like a new situation for me, how do I deal with this situation? But Moonstone for me reminds me of like your intuition, that you have such a good connection to spirit and such good intuition, that I wouldn't worry too much about floundering, you know, whatever situation you may be in, or whatever cycle where, you know, you're being thrown into some new situation where you're like, this is so foreign to me, like I don't know how to do this, you know. Just know that you are being guided. Trust your gut. It's your best compass that you have, that your spirit guides are with you, and they're trying to communicate with you to help you not feel like you're like, you know, lost in the dark. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, so that's what I was getting for you. I was kind of I don't know, this was like a weird image, maybe because I like Scooby-Doo, but I was thinking of like was it Velma without her glasses, like her kind of feeling around in a dark room, like you know, like she's like lost, but her glasses are right over there, you know, just out of her reach. So yeah, that's kind of what I was getting. So yeah, and I wish you much luck, whatever that phase or that cycle is. So just let me know if that makes sense. And then you pull a Velma every morning. That's so silly. Okay, so Sapphire, I think you were the last one. Sapphire, do you want a general reading, or did you want something specific? Specifica. I love these cards, by the way. These are, out of all the freaking decks I have, they're the most traveling, testing, and testing the next 2 days. Oh, searching for your glasses. Yes. So Sapphire, did you want something about your testing? Was it? I'm sorry, maybe there was a first part of it, I just didn't get to see it. Oh, okay. So in the general realm of testing, while that you said you're testing, and then something testing the next few days. So while I was shuffling, Chrysotile came out, and it was animals. Okay, so let me just tap in and figure out, how does testing connect to animals? Okay, so I don't know what form of testing you're doing, whether it's testing for school, or doing, I don't know why I keep saying like animal testing. I doubt you're doing animal testing. But for me, green is the heart chakra, and recently I have been seeing like animals within the heart, or I mean within our chakras, and so to me that's significant, because it's like, okay, animals, heart chakra, that perhaps with whatever testing it is that you're doing, tap into one of your favorite animals. This sounds really strange, but okay. For instance, let me try to explain it so it makes more sense. Okay. One of my favorite animals, okay, we'll just use Wally Wally Toe, because he is right next to me right now, and he's sitting next to his little toy. If I think of the attributes of a cat, or in his case, a puma, they are agile, they always land on their feet, they have a keen sense of smell, they're really good in seeing in the dark, you know, so maybe like seeing subconscious, you know, if you want to give it metaphorically. you know, and that being one of my favorite animals. So if I'm going into a situation where I might need some of those attributes, I might meditate and tap into the energy of the characteristics of a cat, because I need those characteristics to help get me through what it is that I need to get through. So let's say, and actually, yeah, cat's coming through really strong, maybe because I have a cat right here, but who knows? So whatever animal that maybe you've been seeing a lot of lately, could be a hummingbird. I'm thinking green because, you know, hummingbirds are green. At least in this area, they're kind of a beautiful emerald green. Think of, okay, so this animal that's coming to me, what attributes does this animal have? What are they known for? And how can I tap into that energy, you know, with my heart and take that into my testing? So the message for you is, if you want to get through your testing and you want to feel like you have a leg up on it or an advantage, I would tap into the energy of the animal that seems to be appearing for you most often. And when I say animal, that could be anything. Could be an insect, could be a lizard, could be, you know, anything in that general thing of animal. But yeah, tap into that and figure out, like, if I need more, I don't know, agility in something, you know, I'm just gonna feel the energy of that. You know, you're not automatically gonna be like, okay, now I am agile, but you need to really meditate on and feel the energy of that animal and the characteristics that it possesses in order to help you. So I hope that helps, you know. So next time you, I don't know if you meditate, but if you do get into a meditation, I would definitely start figuring out what animal has been popping up for me, like, oddly lately. Yes, Walito Bendito. So yeah, what animal has oddly been popping up for me a lot lately? Perhaps it's letting me know that those are the qualities that I need to tap into to help you get through all that testing, more testing that you were talking about. So that makes sense? Okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean, hey, you can always borrow Wally Walito's attributes. So yeah, sometimes when I feel like I need, just to kind of go off a little bit more, when I need more, I don't know, I'm gonna say dominance, but you know, if the classroom's getting a little wily, then I'm like, okay, I have to go in like super stern mode. What do I know that's super stern? Like, well, I don't want to be a bear because I'm not like trying to rip people's faces off, but you know, like something that is like, you know, stoic and everything. So I'm like thinking, a stag. Yeah, a stag. So, you know, I almost walk around with my head even higher, and, you know, I'm like, nope, we're putting an end to that. Nope, if you continue to act like that, I'm going to take you out of the classroom. Just like, I step into that, like, stag's power or whatever animal I need to step into. And I'm like, yeah, I am that now. And that is not what a stag would put up with. So, yeah, so I'm glad that helped. All right, so that's it, my spiritual homies. I'm so glad the few people that could come in. I know that this was like a really awkward time for everybody, but I wanted to have another live chat, and I knew I wouldn't be able to do it tomorrow because, you know, my uncle's coming in. He's visiting from Pennsylvania, and I'm also going to be doing my little paranormal thingy-majiggy out at Dearborn Cemetery. And then I have to study my score for the opera. So I'll try to make a few videos this weekend and get them out to you guys next week. But like I said, I might be a little low on videos just because we really do have to rehearse for the opera, and the opera is next Sunday. So, and then after that, whoo. So, so all right. Thank you guys. I guess I'll be signing off. Definitely gotta go eat. My tummy is a rumbling. Ollie's tummy is always rumbling. You're welcome. You are very welcome, Sapphire. Yeah. So I wish you guys much peace, love, and happiness and chicken grease for the weekend. You are welcome, Allison. And yeah. So I'll catch you spiritual homies later. Have a good Saturday and Sunday and the rest of your Friday. yeah. All right. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out. Bye, guys.